Welcome to the RPG Blender, where we give lesser played games or forgotten settings the roll the dice they deserve. I'm your host, Game Master George, thrilled to welcome you to the next chapter in our adventure. Our heroes' past lives have made their way into Crystal and found the point of infection. Can they prevent its spread? Find out as we explore a new land of power and ancient secrets in Exalted. Remember Heartwind. One more piece of information that you get, Gold Shadow. Near where that initial impact site is, you find a very small message etched onto a nearby tree.
Oh.
Which is, remember Heartwind.
I find this and then I immediately show it to my compatriots wordlessly.
Bright Shadow Dice will immediately begin to recollect through her.
Heartwind, one of the cities that was disappeared in one of the creation parts that we destroyed.
Yeah, probably. That sounds about right.
Two of you lived through this, so you can give me either intelligence lore or intelligence integrity. I think you two know which you are.
Yeah, I'm an oldie.
You can give me intelligence lore, however. Contentious sword, if you would like.
You know I can't do that, but was it the scene of a great battle? Maybe I could use my war knowledges, huh? I'm just going to roll what you told me to roll now.
I'm not going to pump this. I'm just going to...
That was a fun moment, though.
Lore and intelligence. I have 10. I can roll that by myself.
6 successes. Not the best, but that's okay.
I only got 7 successes.
Oh my gosh.
1, 2,
I didn't pump.
3.
I should have pumped. I chose not to because I'm a big dum-dum. But he got so many hints. Whatever.
I got 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay, and who rolled lore and who rolled integrity?
I rolled lore.
Oh, I also rolled lore. Because integrity is remembering. Integrity is remembering.
Lore.
Can I
lore.
I already rolled it. It's too late.
I was going to say, you should probably take the integrity because it's probably a much easier check.
Wait, actually, can I just make an integrity check? It's the same number.
Yeah, you can make it integrity. It doesn't matter.
Okay, it was also would have been a 5. So yeah.
Okay.
So 6. Yeah.
So those of you who rolled lore, you know this from not being directly involved in it. You instead heard about it afterwards. You read about it. You studied it. Whatever that might be. Integrity, you were part of this. While you might not have been, directly there, you were part of whatever decisions were being made and
to it.
Such. Yes, you are linked to this. Heartwind Isle. During the Primordial War, this was a city that was gifted by the patronage of Gaia. Gaia, one of 2 titans. There might be a third. One of the few primordials who did not fight against you, who in fact sided with you, the progenitor of the terrestrial Exalted, the dragon-blooded, blessed the Isle of Heartwind, a paradise of malleable life, which the people who settled there used to create vast workings of genesis, of genetically enhanced or changed life forms. And during the Primordial War, the Solars attempted to recruit them to fight against the Primordials. However, the people of Heartwind chose not to. They chose to remain neutral. That
wrong move.
Was not an option in the mind of the Solars. You were with them or you were against them, and the knowledge of Genesis that could be of biogenesis that could be gained from them was far too great to be allowed to simply let loose. So you turned one of the first 1,000 forged dragons upon the city, marking the first usage of the terrible weapon. Unfortunately, because it was the first usage, its impact was greater than was expected. It destroyed almost the entirety of the island's ecosystems, as well as the inhabitants. Yes, removing the threat of them choosing to side with the primordials, however, also creating a somewhat uninhabitable wasteland where once had been a thriving ecosystem.
Did we nuke a city just because they didn't want to help us?
That is correct.
We're not cool.
Not even like they were actively fighting us. Like they were just like, we don't want to help you. Just please leave us out of this. And we were like, bye.
Yes.
Yeah.
You scavenged what you could after that. However, it was nowhere near what you could have gained. And ever since then, occasionally, there have been acts of terrorism that have been linked to similar ideas of genetic enhancement, and always with the cry of, remember Heartwind.
I just think this is super cool that there's like a Simic terrorist organization.
Right? Go figure.
I want to play those
Divine
guys.
Providence. you then change the game. So George, is that what Gold Shadowed Arrow knows?
You all know that those general facts. Gold Shadowed Arrow knows this because Gold Shadowed Arrow was in some way connected to the actual events.
Did some spy work, said this is the best place to drop the bombs.
Got it.
Oh no. I probably was not 100% in agreement with that because I don't think excess is necessary. I probably was the person who lobbied for a more a less extreme version of takeover, or at least a way of
you literally make organizations to invade other
infiltrate.
organizations. Yeah, that would make sense.
Or maybe this is why you don't believe in access.
Perhaps this might have been the triggering event.
Never again.
Where you were like always surgical, never big.
Yeah. Why go big when you can go a lot more accurately? It's how you use the weapon.
Either way, it proved you right. Is it either proved you right or it made you the man you were?
Yep.
Yeah, so my face kind of darkens as I see. That's probably why I wordlessly motioned for you. I didn't even say it out loud. But yeah, I just sit there brooding.
These echoes of the past come back to strike at our purpose.
After a long while, he will speak up.
I tried to find anyone who wrote this. Remember Heartwind. I found no traces of any such organizations in the South. It is fitting that they have come here. We should get to the bottom of this. I assume you would want to examine your sample before we proceed eastward, Bright Shattered Ice.
No, quite the contrary. If this is spreading as rapidly as it seems to, time is of the essence for the sake of creation.
I agree. I'm glad to hear you say that. Let us hasten then.
George, a point of note for Bright Shattered Ice. I've made cities before. This city has a pollutant that upon impact makes people explode.
Makes them want to go near other people and explode.
It feels like something I can just make better. Is this the kind of thing that I would probably decide to glass this entire city and just start fresh?
If there's no one here, I mean, yeah, for sure.
And
There's
even
nothing
if there
here.
are people here, they will explode when we find them.
Well, all the people who were here left. They went east. Anyone who could not find anyone to explode next to, they went. The footprints left. So
does all that logic seem to sit?
That logic seems to sit,
Yeah.
especially since you're going to be reshaping this entire area anyway. You can just make a new city.
Perfect.
I'm going to tell my troops to get back to your city before they risk infection.
Not knowing, well, I mean, you might know what's coming. No, if you know
I know what
Shattered
happened.
Ice.
I know about the infection, so I want to get my people out, and I know it has to do with Heartwind because I made that roll. So, question: so Heartwind comes from Gaia, and Gaia is the patron of the dragon blooded.
Interesting.
And I would blame Heartwind for not being brave enough to like stand up and fight with us, because then they would still be alive. Like obviously, I is rich and horrified, but I as a solar, I'm like, that's your fault.
Right.
Yeah.
If you were alive during that point, you probably would have agreed with the decision.
This is the This is the dragon blooded's mess to clean up, because their patron is the one who gave them those powers in the first place.
Oh God, Rich! I love the
Didn't
dots
give
you're
them their
connecting
powers.
here.
It was their own technology that they created.
Oh, okay. Never mind then.
Yes. She gave them the paradise that they then worked with. Yes.
George, I have
Their
the
scientific
weapons.
advancements they discovered of their own. It wasn't a gift from Gaia.
George, I have the weapons within my city to be able to just be like, blow it up.
Fire.
That's something I need to do myself.
You have the weapons to do significant damage. Yes, it would take time, but yes.
So then I think Bright Shattered Ice will look to Contentious Sword and say, have your people withdraw back to the city. I will have this place purged, and the three of us will make our way further eastward. The city will follow with your contingent once this place is erased.
I think from a strategic point of view, I think we should leave both our people and the city as far away from this as we can.
Why?
On the battlefield, knowledge of your enemy is what grants you power. What we did was right, but the way in which we did it, I think we all know, was less than conducive to learning. There are things that Heartwind could have had, such as this, whatever this is, that we have no knowledge going into. What we do know is that it affects mortal souls and allows them to infect others. Mortal souls that your city is both filled with, and my army is compromised of. Any spout, any gout could get onto any number of people, and that could have a cataclysmic effect. While we, as divine beings, are much more likely to be able to resist the effects and to be able to handle anything else that is thrown at us. Bringing a city too close or an army too close, I believe, would be disastrous.
Shadowed Arrow will smile and say,
I admire your patience and caution.
Bright Shattered Ice will take a few steps to close the gap with the golden blade as he says these things and smile a warm and kindly smile and place a gentle hand on his cheek and say, "A gentle heart for my young one." However,
But
our task is to see this accomplished where our previous were unable.
indeed,
Our people are an asset that must be utilized for the betterment of creation. And if some must fall to our noble cause, their souls will have eternal peace following.
I don't worry
Their
about the
glorious
eternal
action.
peace. I worry about the resources lost. If you don't
Which is
think
why
we're
they
going-
will stay on my floating city in the sky until it's time to bring an army down upon them.
they will
Until
be well
then,
safe.
they will be in close proximity for when we need an army to come down upon them. But we will be the beginning force.
How do you bring an army upon a goopy mess?
Well,
Once we have
the
purged,
goopy mess may be a byproduct of the monster or monsters. This may simply be excrement that upon mortal creatures, they become violently ill and eventually succumb to the awful result.
Did you tell us that it's like super fast? Because if I don't have that information, then I don't have that information. I'll be like,
Yeah,
yeah, it makes
yeah,
total sense. But if you told us,
It infects pretty quickly, is what I said. Yeah.
it doesn't seem as though we have that much time. Here,
Agreed, which is why I want to bring as much power as possible to make sure we can stave this containment. The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. So they will go to the city. The city will stay out of reach of the goop that stays underground at this time, unless somebody stabs the ground and forces it to erupt into the air, she says, her kind smile seeming to fade very rapidly.
Oh shit.
And we will
Okay.
see that the task that I have been given will be handled appropriately where those before us could not. Does that make sense, my golden blade?
with zero manipulation, the Golden Blade, as my elder circle mate, I defer to your knowledge, and I just put my blade away.
You may be the greatest of your predecessors yet.
I look back. I look back at you and say, and I hope to meet many great of yours. And I move forward.
Shadowed Arrow was kind of giving you like a kind of dad nod, like, yeah, just listen to mom. Like, I'm on your side. Like, it's fine. But as soon as you say that, my eyes kind of steel, and I kind of grit my teeth and shake my head and let out like a sigh that's a little audible, especially to our keen sense of hearing.
And I just move.
As she pulls out her I am, she says very absent-mindedly, "Perhaps you still have more growth to go, my young boy." And she gives the orders to the city to collect the armed forces as they collect and follow from a safe distance from her shuttle as they continue to move further as Gold Shadow Darrow directs.
Sorry, unless we're moving the scene. Are we moving the scene?
No. Go
Okay.
ahead.
As Contentious Sword is a ways away, Gold Shadowed Arrow will turn to Bright Shadowed Ice.
do you intend to level the city?
Yes.
Perhaps I know not what information can be garnered from this place, but perhaps there is still more to learn. Though I am keen at observing, there is much information that perhaps is stored here that I was not able to obtain with such a cursory investigation. I caution, perhaps, destroying it all at once.
Bright Shattered Ice pauses very poignantly and considers very, very carefully. George, this area, which has been started to be rebuilt and reshaped following Operation Wild Hand, correct?
Mhm.
Would be adding land and individuals into this settlement, right? Basically recreating, catching up to.
Mhm.
Is there anything that I would know that may or may not be relevant as far as knowledge that is not already within my libraries, Hierophant's libraries, Meru's libraries, that this place may or may not have, that would
Be worth
itch
preserving.
at the back of my head to make it so that I need?
That's why I'm
make
trying to
sure.
appeal to your
Well,
your intimacies.
You're
did
hitting
good.
the exact
Whatever this thing
correct
is.
spot. So
Whatever this thing is,
You're right. The creature,
Right.
whatever
you have a
evidence would
little
be destroyed.
sample, but you have a little sample of what was under the ground,
right.
not necessarily what the
And-
person was infected with. You're making the assumption
That's what infected
that
them.
they are that is what caused this.
Could be something
everybody
else.
else-
Could just be a byproduct. Yeah.
But as Gold Shadowed Arrow understands, everybody else has gone in the direction that we are intending to pursue.
Mhm.
My question is actually about the city itself. Is there
The city
anything
itself.
here that I would glean as knowledge that might be lost should I decide to glass this thing? Because obviously that's a no-go. I got to make sure that in a true Brainiac style
You scoop that up.
I get the neutron pods
Yeah.
and then detonate the planet, right?
In theory, not so much. There
But it's
have
possible.
been records and study of the city itself, so you could recreate it as needed, assuming adequate control of the wild shaping technique. The only thing potentially worth studying is any remnants of the people bombs that you might find somewhere in the city upon thorough inspection and search.
But I'm also okay. But with that,
But you also don't know what might have been done here, because Larkin Gwen, you had a role to know who that is, is a sorcerer himself, and a rather accomplished student of creation of things. So obviously,
Right. To
in
be
order
destroying all that work, yeah.
you don't know what he might have here.
Well, and that's the place I need to go to, isn't it? Okay. You've caught a thread. You've caught a thread in old.
Okay, I don't want like the
brain.
wholesale just explosion, because I'm getting a little triggered flashbacks a little bit. So
And Bright Shadow Dice will say, your insight is ever invaluable, Gold Shadowed Arrow.
I, of course, defer to your wiser decision. I only offer my advice.
This place will need to be destroyed. Should this be a place where the plague has continued to spread, time is of the essence. However, our predecessor, Harkin, wherever his dwellings were, may give us insight as far as any further information pertaining to what's going on here. Ergo, I wish to see his domicile, wherever his home dwellings were, his laboratory, libraries. Larkin, yes, I wish to see what he has discovered. He? She? He. I wish to see what he has discovered. So
Wise
let's find his
decision.
domicile, shall we?
Well, perhaps we could have some of our underlings investigate while we proceed eastward. They can always relay the information to us.
She. Her mouth.
I'm sorry, unless you want to
mouth-
investigate.
Her mouth becomes a thin slit.
I want to get out of here, and I want to go and find this thing. But I did also not want you to blow it up. But now I've made you dilly-dally, and now I'm like, crap.
Yeah, a bit of a problematic. Hey, could I throw a curveball and just leave this to the dice and do a little social between Greg and me to see who gets it? Whatever he would roll to persuade me versus what I would to either, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, if you are normally, so you can absolutely use social influence on another person if you choose to.
Yeah.
And as long as you're both okay with it, I'm fine.
Yeah, sure.
I think because
I defer to your judgment, and I respect everything. Like everything you say, I'm like,
you're
this
scratching itches. So I'd rather put it to the dice than me kibosh it, because there's some value
here to roll
behind
dice.
it all.
Yeah,
It's just a matter of how well he can.
That would be your resolve, though.
Sure.
So he would just be rolling
against resolve. However, it utilizes your intimacies in order to gain bonuses or penalties. So he would be utilizing, in theory, your one about possessing knowledge, which is a fairly powerful intimacy.
I without saying how many, it's a good one. So I would allow that. Whatever this ends up being, and I'm not trying to fight back on this because.
Right. There's not a ton
one of my inner
pushback.
circle. I'm not
same.
All he's doing is counseling me in kind. So you're throwing. Correct me if I'm wrong, George. Greg would be throwing to hit my
correct.
What did we say it was? Resolve? My resolve.
And it's my charisma,
in my intimacy, which I don't know how that affects it, but whatever he's got, chuck it, do it.
So, what rank intimacy is it?
Should I take my head thing
Close
off?
Close your eyes, everybody, and I'll
Close
show
your ears. I know what it is. I'm having you say it for the audience.
It's
Hang on.
Oh, you didn't say it.
I don't fucking care.
It's 3.
It's a defining.
Or it's a defining.
Which means you have a -3 penalty to your resolve.
So it'd be a 4 for the resolve.
Now, do you have a major or minor or any other intimacy that in theory defends the action?
Pursuit of all knowledge justifies all action. Which would probably be it in regards to, I don't know, all of my direct paths, whether it's following the creature versus staying here and finding his records and stuff. Those who hide knowledge betray creation. That feels like a kind of relevant one if I don't have all of the information that this guy has.
Okay. So that those who not hide knowledge, that is a major, correct? Okay. So for a major, that will give you a +3 bonus, so they will cancel each other out.
Oh, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but socialize charisma?
Charisma presence.
Or charisma presence. There you go. Charisma presence.
Meanwhile,
Okay.
contentious sword.
Did I get limit triggered?
That's what I was about to say. I think
was
you have
asking.
I think you have a major intimacy, which
I have to prove myself as my intimacy, which is fine.
the one that I was thinking of specifically is the one where you have a drive to be seen as equal.
I do, and that didn't happen. And then my limit trigger is specifically being like, I don't know if anyone else knows it, but you know what it is, George.
So if you believe unless I see egregious ignoring of it, if you feel that your limit trigger, what happened there, then we will absolutely do the limit trigger roll. Otherwise, I do think that the one with I'm
going to consult with the team just because I don't mind if you know what it is. Like, and I want to get everyone's input because I'm leaning toward, I think it was, so the limit trigger is being denied my due. And I think that me being like, I did this and I am the master tactician and I am the one who's this and I gave the good thing. And you're like, well, you're just a little boy and we'll do what I say.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that would be like, yeah.
I would say, yeah, I said that triggers.
Yeah, I mean, the key is, did you fight against it or did you accept it
No, I clearly argued against it initially. But
then...
Yeah, and then the whole, well, you're young, you'll learn, you have a soft heart. And I definitely don't. I'm like, no, I don't.
I'm a big boy.
All of the wrong things.
So it sounds like the limit trigger happened there.
I'd agree with that. I would say that he was acknowledged and then he was unacknowledged. Mm-hmm. So yes. I think that's
well, even you being like, hey, good thinking, but you're wrong, and me being like, I'm the tactician, I don't tell you you build floating cities wrong, like would probably be enough for like a limit trigger to start, and then the rest just kind of like pushed it in.
Now the thing
we're corrupt, we're old.
They are not mutually exclusive, so I think you have also one where you have a major intimacy about being seen as equal.
No, I've approved myself. Proving myself is my major.
Oh, that's defining.
Oh, it's defining.
Level 3 is
right.
defining.
Equal is that yes, I need to be seen as an equal.
And since you didn't push for that in that conversation.
No, I did, and then I deferred because I'm in this lady's floating city and she's getting like mad at me, and I'm not. I feel like I know enough about the circle to know I can't change Bright Shattered Ice's mind. Like, I'm not going to be like, no, this is the better tactical thing to do, because she also kind of played on the whole, you're little. So the reason I like the conversation is because if it was just, no, I'm not worried about the resource, I could argue the resource. She was like, you have a soft heart, i.e. you are still more mortal, which is one of his things of being like, no, I'm not. I'm hundreds of years old and I'm just as good as anyone else. I'm only 2 essence down. Brr.
I'm an old man. I'm an old man.
So I feel like he made the attempt and it was kind of shot down.
Okay. So for the limit trigger, you would roll 3 dice.
And then for each success, I kill one of you people.
You gain a point of limit.
1.
Oh, wow.
I got a 9, a 3, and a 4.
Okay.
I can also... but I do kind of like storm off angrily, and literally the first person I get, I throw like into the sun. Like, I'm just like, woof, and just toss them.
Like one of your dudes? Like just one of your troops?
No, definitely not one of mine. Like literally like the first person like walking by with like a mimosa thing. Like I just grab them and say, in service, and I just huck them.
Good thing it's an empty city, but yep.
Oh no, I do that when we're in the city. Because I assume we were having this conversation in the city.
Oh no,
floating city.
Nope, this was...
we were talking on the ground, yeah.
Then in which case I just knock down a building. Like I literally grab a corner of a building and just like wrench it off, and like a building falls in the distance.
Give me your feat of strength roll.
Amazing.
Okay.
That's so.
I still have the other thing is still going because it actually lasts for a long time. I don't know why I don't use it.
See, this part of this is also teaching you use charms.
Yeah, I actually have this charm on Smiling Mountain, and I never use it. And it even specifically is like, oh yeah, this adds damage to decisive strikes. And I'm like, what am I doing with my life?
Oh, I felt when I discovered Excellent Strike. I was like,
I can add like 2 more because it makes me stronger for the rest of the combat.
What was I doing?
I'm probably never going to use this spell because it's so specific. I probably can never use it in this setting, like at least with what we're dealing. But I literally have a spell that instantly kills somebody by touching them. But I have to have like a piece of them beforehand. But I can literally, like, when I touch them, they die instantly. I just have to have had a piece of them beforehand.
That's insane.
And I can also choose to kill them immediately, or it can just be a delayed, like I can kill them anytime within 24 hours. So I can just touch them and walk away and like leave. And then like an hour later, they just die, or like 2 hours or 3 hours anytime.
I want that fucking spell. That sounds like a great spell.
Well, the problem is I need to get a piece of them beforehand. So it's not like an in combat thing. It's a very much like a super assassin skill, but that's like, okay, I just instantly kill somebody. All right then.
So, what was the result of your
my
charisma?
Big manly.
No.
Oh, okay, no.
Let's go to the charisma presence roll. Actually, you know what? Yeah, let's do the tantrum first.
I got a 16.
Building down on the ground. Shockwave. Yep.
Would we have the prescience to recognize that this is probably contentious being pouty, or would we think that it's another person? Oh yeah, that's a ooh.
It came from the direction that contentious went. So either it was him being pouty, or he's probably got it well in hand and now has an outlet for his frustration.
Okay, we won't make movements then. So yeah, my persuasion roll, 8d10. Do I stunt this at all, George? Or
no. Well, because it's it was the conversation back and forth. The
conversation.
He would get one, you would get one. It ends up
so it wouldn't matter.
Canceling out.
All right, I roll 3. Only 3 successes. That's
my gosh.
I'm not a very charismatic person. I'm very, very flat. So
Resolve of 7.
Move.
Unmoving.
Bright Shattered Ice seems more drawn in watching contentious swords actions than your stuff hitting true. And she responds and says, despite our young circle mate here having his own feelings on the current situation, this place needs to be dealt with immediately to ensure that the spread does not go any further. Even going to Larkin's domicile to draw any further insight in the situation is a risk on its own, but one that we will broach for the betterment of creation. Let us make haste to find his dwellings quickly, and then the city will take care of this place, and we will press onward, continuing our strike. I trust you can find Larkin's dwellings, my friend?
Of course.
Consider it a warm-up. And she'll park the shuttle to give you either free reign to go wherever you need to, or should you.
And I will use evidence discerning method by looking at evidence. I can construct a psychological profile of a person who left evidence or who just was around, so I can figure out where, just based on the layout of the city and everything, where this guy lived and all that stuff.
Okay, is there any role associated with that, or it just happens?
I'm about to get a lot
by sorting through evidence left by a particular person. I can create a psychological profile of the person who left the evidence. It allows me to create a profile of the character who is not present, the difficulty based on the dissonance of the scene, perception investigation roll. If they've left misleading evidence, the difficulty is raised. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what it.
What did it say the difficulty was?
It just says if they've left misleading evidence. Gotcha. So if the person has intentionally tried to hide their tracks or what they like or where they'd go or whatever. But yeah, like I would be able to just discern from the surrounding buildings and everything that he's all made and constructed himself, what style of architecture he likes, like what the flow of the city is that he would have, so that his city has either is overlooking or is in the center or is on the outskirts. Like I'd be able to create a profile understanding exactly the kind of person he is and everything like that. And then using that, I would then deduce where his house is, if that makes any sense. Unless I can't do that, in which case I'll just find one of my other 50 charms and pick one out of a hat.
So, the city of Crystal it was from before the events, so it is not necessarily going to give you direct clues to him. It might.
Sure.
Could certainly try. See what kind of hand he might have had during his time here.
Okay.
So you can certainly make the attempt.
All right. Not the best roll, but 9 successes.
Okay. All right. With 9 successes, you can see that there is a central point here. At the city center, there is. Sure. Okay. Yeah. At the city center, there is a building which has a bit of just a slight bit of a gap between it and the surrounding buildings. It is clearly a locus of magical energy of some kind, of a ley lines or whatever might be powering this city. So it seems likely that whoever was in charge of the city, whoever controls it, probably has some kind of hand there. Whether it is Larkin Quen or somebody else, you don't know, but it is whoever has been having a hand in running this city, or at least designing it.
Okay, so using that information, can I attempt to figure out where his domicile would be?
That is the place that it pointed you toward.
Oh, okay. So I go there.
Okay.
I lead Bright Shattered Ice in that direction.
Okay. As you reach there, you can see signs of, well, frequent's the wrong word, but frequent in terms of how often they should occur. Earthquakes or explosions originating from this location.
Not the similar kind of explosion of the people, or
no. Like
Okay.
ground
Like
that has been
experiments.
cracked,
You're right.
buildings nearby with damage to them,
Okay.
which has been repaired, and then it happened again, then repaired again, and then it happened again, which seemed to
Okay.
originate from this location.
He's a tinkerer, and he may have caused some damage. Cool.
George, if I may, while Gold Shadowed Arrow is leading us to this dwelling, Bright Shadowed Ice will stay on her shuttle, and should Contentious Sword be on the way, we'll attempt to basically scoop him up to bring him. Otherwise, if he goes wherever he does, he's fully capable of handling himself, and she'll just let him tantrum wherever he chooses to go, maybe find some other shit. But she will also cast, she'll first pull out some parchment and stuff and just write a quick note. And then while she's just allowing her shuttle to kind of autopilot behind Gold Shadowed Arrow, she's going to cast Infallible Messenger and send a missive to Larkin that basically says, as I have been put into leadership to handle further matters concerning Operation Wild Hand and the City of Crystal and whatever other issues are occurring here, I request all of your information pertaining to the current situation for Operation Wild Hand, as well as any information pertaining to the city that should be recovered. Time is of the essence. Please put priority on this as per my position given to me via the council. Signed.
Okay. It's not Infallible Messenger repeats a message. It does not deliver a written missive.
Oh, okay, cool. I wasn't.
So you literally say it and then
it
repeats it.
Yeah, she will pontificate that exact process, blah, 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 Bright Shadowed Ice, saying it in my voice, and fucking sends him off to basically give her the exact information.
Okay. Meanwhile, Contentious Sword, what are you doing?
If I'm on the way, because of other intimacies that I have, I will have cooled off and just get on the shuttle.
Okay.
I don't apologize, but I don't look mad.
She doesn't acknowledge any of it.
Yeah.
She goes on to our next task, and she boom, and
God, that
seems cool
It
and
is.
chill again.
Oh, it's so much worse.
All right. So you send off your messenger. You pick up Contentious Sword, and meanwhile, Gold Shadowed Arrow, you are standing at the gates of this building. What do you do?
Well, I gesture for Bright Shattered Ice to take the lead. This is her area of expertise. I just found the locale.
Okay, so you wait for them to arrive. They arrive. Bright Shattered Ice. You find yourself at what is clearly a manse of some kind. It is ornately decorated. While buildings around it show signs of this damage, the building itself does not. And you can feel power emanating from it.
Am I aware of any information pertaining to Larkin's manse and what that may be?
No.
I will, first and foremost, just scan the area myself and just see if there's anything that picks up, whether in my sorcerer's senses or otherwise. Hoping that, in theory, this fellow sorcerer should be sending me a lofty cherub to give me all sorts of information about what the hell's going on, if they are worth their weight in our solar existence. Okay, and I'll throw some dice at this, because why not? That's what we're here to do.
Yeah.
Roll some dice. Perception awareness?
Sure.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 plus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 successes.
7 successes. And you're looking for what specifically?
I'm observing the location that Gold Shadowed Arrow has brought us to, trying to sense if there is anything that catches my my eye as far as magical defenses, things of the like, or if there's anything of note that catches my eye beyond that for warnings of danger
Is this an ambush? Feels like an ambush.
Yeah, I was gonna say it, but it's possible a fortified manse might be a place where a whole bunch of exploding people are hiding.
The manse itself does not appear overly fortified. You're not seeing any signs of external defenses. You see the damage to the surrounding buildings. You see the signs of it being repaired. And you find very little sign of entry or exit.
Okay, well, I suppose it's time for us to make sure that this place is safe, draw whatever information we can out of it, and make our way onward. Shall we? She says, looking to the two of them.
Lead the way.
I actually think you should, my shadowed arrow. Should there be any dangers, I'm fairly confident they will not discover you.
Very well.
And he will walk into the manse.
And she'll turn to Contentious Sword and say,
The door is in fact shut, barred.
I will walk into the manse. I shadow form, materialize, and walk through the door, open it from the latch on the other side, if there is one, and just there's like a as it slowly creaks open, and he's just walking. He just keeps walking.
while that business is happening, assuming that will happen, Bright Shattered Ice will look to Contentious Sword and say, and of course, Golden Blade, I trust you will keep me safe from whatever potential threats.
When you turn around, I've already got my weapons out. it's just already there.
Perfect.
So, you act as a spirit when you were dematerialized. You are not truly incorporeal.
Correct.
As you go to pass through the walls of this manse, you feel the magical energy that's coursing through it, which is rebuffing your advance. This is something you've experienced before when things are warded against spirits or similar materials or similar creatures.
So I don't actually make it through the door?
You do not actually make it through the door.
Okay. All right. Then I will attempt to open the lock. I don't know actually if I have any lock picking skills. What? All right. Then I use one of my free perky pickies and I get the perfect flawless lock pick technique to instantly open any lock.
Okay. Note that down. Make sure you pick up the prerequisites, whatever they may be, and there you go.
I think it's one of the first tier charms because Azure Malik has it, and I definitely did not dip very far into that.
Jesus fuck.
Larceny charm, correct?
Yeah, it's like a first tier larceny charm.
Do you remember what
It's
it's
just
called?
a flawless lock picking technique, I believe.
Flawless pickpocketing technique.
No,
Is
okay,
there
then
one that
it's
is also? Oh, you have lock opening touch.
lock.
That
That's
only
it.
works for mundane locks.
Huh. Is there a higher
Magic,
tier
baby.
one that works on magic locks? There's got to be one.
Don't know.
I'm just gonna kick the door open because I still have a big.
I was
strong
going to say,
strength, so.
if we see that issue is happening here as far as the door, she'll pointedly look at the Golden Blade to just
take like another like few minutes, but yeah, if it seems like you're stumped for even more than like 10 seconds, Ice probably gives me a nod, and I'm just gonna walk up and kick it.
yeah.
I
mean,
definitely do take more than 10 seconds.
There is the door evading technique where you dodge the door and end up on the other side.
You're jerking my chain.
Did you say this is?
Yeah,
Did you
the
say this
Exalt
is
reaches for the
larceny?
door as if to touch it, and then steps forward. When your foot falls, you're on the other side of the door.
Oh, that's a
This
real
is
thing.
Larceny? What is this?
That is larceny.
What the fuck?
I thought you were when you said door dodging technique. I thought you were making fun of me because I have all these dodge charms.
I did
No,
too.
it's-
I'm not gonna lie.
You're
Lo and
dodging
behold.
the door like it's coming at you. Like whoa!
Lo and behold,
But
he's never been more serious in his damn life.
that's a real charm. Okay.
It lets you go through a window, a locked window, a sewer grate, drop portcullis, or even an archway that drips lightning.
I don't see larceny in the Cascade document. Am I wrong?
Should be there.
There's so many. There's so many charms.
That costs 10 motes and 1 willpower to use, however.
Oh dang.
It's not that much. It's nothing.
Willpower.
Willpower
sure.
returns at 1 per day.
Yeah, willpower is the detail.
I
And you
do it.
often
It's
need
my
it to
spell
do-
slots. I do it. I don't want to unless Contentious Sword is already moving to smash the door. I don't want to.
Now that we know that exists, you can go for it.
Okay. Then I step through as I would using this magic charm.
Okay. You step through onto the other side, and what you see is within you've worked with Bright Shattered Ice for quite some time, so you would recognize what appears to be an alchemy laboratory. It is set up with distillations constantly running throughout the chamber. You see the walls lined with books, notes, charts of all kinds, and in the center is a single chair on which you see seated an individual, head in their hands, in deep contemplation,
Oh crap!
not yet having noticed you.
Hmm.
I think I sent that dude a message.
Okay.
The infallible messenger that you sent sped off, not toward this manse, but toward Meru.
Oh, twist.
Okay, interesting. Is I gently, like, without alerting this person to my presence, like, touch the door behind me and see if it's like firmly locked?
You touch the door behind you. Yes, it is firmly locked. And
is it like a key lock, or is there like a thing that I could lift up?
It's a manse. It's very clearly tied to this person's essence, or whoever runs this manse, in case this person is trapped here for whatever reason.
I will. This is a really dumb idea. This is probably a really dumb idea.
It's Exalted. There are no dumb ideas.
You have 10 seconds before we come in one way or another.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
Although I will say, George, am I aware through my knowledge as a sorceress about any way to like disrupt the font of magic pertaining to manses? Is that something I could just like do, or I don't even know?
You can give me an intelligence lore or intelligence occult. Intelligence occult.
I'll throw it to see if that's even a thing versus making Golden Blade do some shit or putting arrow through more pain.
Yeah, I'm gonna use my my merit thing. I'm gonna use my Stone of Gender transformation. I'm gonna switch into a female to be less
Nope, not in this world.
Well, that's true.
I mean, females are power.
That's true. But I don't know who this individual is.
World.
Oh, that's true. What is it back then?
Different place.
Is it more masculine?
No,
I'm
equivalent.
Nope.
No, so it doesn't matter. So it's equal during the dream time.
All right,
not for less being a threat, but less what's the word?
Identifiable.
Yeah, I don't know if they know who I am. So if I'm not who I appear to be, then because. Yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, I had the ability. I was considering looking like Larkin Ken because I could do that, but I was like, that's probably a bad idea. I can't pretend to be him for an extended period of time. I have no charisma.
So wear your stuff.
But I will transform into the female version of myself, and I will step forward.
Okay. Meanwhile, let's get that intelligence occult roll.
I'm just checking to see if any of my cult stuff gives me any bennies, but I think
it's mostly to deal with spirits and
okay, so
wild.
8 successes then.
8 successes. Okay. Disrupting a manse can be done. It is not easy, and you would need access to its power source. Doing so from the outside is exceedingly difficult because this is just an external force. It's like what's a good analogy for that? It's like it's the outer shell, and what you're actually trying to get to is that nice center bit,
the core.
So you need to reach the core. You could try to do that from the outside, but then that involves burrowing through the outer shell and through all those layers. And
at that point, Golden Blade is the correct answer. So I'll see what arrow does and go from there.
Okay, so gold shadowed arrow. What do you do?
I approach the individual.
You approach the individual in the chair.
Yeah, let's see what his business is. I have no fear of hiding in the shadows. I will approach him plainly and simply.
Okay. You approach plainly and simply from the front. As you do, he raises his head to look in your direction. What are you doing in here?
Hello, I am here on important business concerning the Solars. I have some friends outside. Maybe come in.
And disrupt my work?
Walking up to the door.
My friends will find their way in one way or another. I simply ask the courtesy of a straightforward conversation with all parties present.
Well, if they wish to barge their way in and disrupt my work toward their immortality, feel free.
Well, that happens, ironically. At that exact time.
In that moment, there's a bang at the door as Contentious Sword begins to drive through. And that's where we'll leave it. Thank you so much for taking the time to enjoy our show, and an especially big thank you to our newest patron, the Piachu. So sorry if I butchered that. Come back next week for the next part of our adventure, or join our Patreon and our fellow patrons, Bubble Dirt and Nova Phoenix, for early access to the next episode, as well as a Patreon-exclusive campaign of Rippers. And of course, don't forget to check out our tutorials and video plays on YouTube at The RPG Blender. If you want to stay up to date on our releases, you can join our Discord or find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or your podcast app of choice. Music is The Punk Rock Show by My Free Mickey. Copyright 2012, licensed under Creative Commons Attribution License. Thank you again, and remember, there's gaming outside the Forgotten Realms.
smash.
No, I'm just gonna kick it. Like I don't even use my weapon. I would just straight kick that door in and be like, I hope no one's right in front of this because they are dead.
Yep.
Right?
Cool.
Sick. Sweet.
When you were gone, George, we were talking about how fun it is to play like such obviously deeply flawed characters and play into those flaws. Like, because when you play a flawed character, I feel like in a regular D&D campaign, you're trying to skew away from it to like maybe show character growth and stuff. With this, these are established characters that don't even believe they have flaws, so there's no reason for them to fix it. It's just no. This is the law of the land. Yeah. And ironically are reinforcing each other's flaws with each other's behavior. So like me being like, oh, I want to save troops and stuff like that. Shattered Ice being someone that, again, like I sheet wise have to look up to, being like, they don't matter, it's fine. It adds these layers of reinforcement to everyone's just incredibly what we would consider bad behavior.
Very dynamic.
That's part of the great curse, that you do not see these flaws about yourselves. It's we are perfect beings. So therefore, what we're doing is right.
Yeah.
There's no one higher than us. There's no oversight committee. It's just us.
I was just gonna say, I'm sure everybody sees this too, but it also is delightful to create such a foil to our original characters, because there are remnants of them within, and it's fun to play a cold, unrelenting, like I definitely know best bitch versus this guy who's like, I kind of have a handle of things.
Right, but it's the potential future of Dirham if he were to actually grow to that power level.
Sure, which is delightful, but also with a moral like sort of conscience, which is I think the fun dependent features between our current characters and these, which are like, they're like, no, we won. This is it. Life is winning. We won. We do whatever we want. It's great. Sometimes you have to have a forced vacation, but besides that, like, just fucking do it. Everybody wins. We made the deal. We all win.
And I feel like also the whole like living 1,000 years thing, I imagine very much like it's like having like a cheat mode in like a video game. It's got to get boring very fast, except for you've been in a cheat mode in a video game for not 100 years, but thousands of years for some of you. And whatever your divine purpose and whatever you believed initially, whatever goodness was there, has probably been purified into distilled into this what can only be described as toxic personality, where it's like, I am strength or I am knowledge, and it cannot be good. And so it's just so it's very interesting.
I am the arbiter of justice.
Well, it's the dynamic between, like, you know, older folks and younger folks, right? Is like, oh, I know better, I've seen enough, and like, you guys don't have the right perspective on things. And that's exactly what these characters are. And in that sense, also like Ice and Arrow versus Blade, right? Blade is a younger soul. Younger soul, but like,
I'm still much younger than you guys. Yeah, I'm like 500. You guys are like 2000.
But still, like, still has acknowledgement to some points of note. Like, obviously it's a fucked up thing to be like, don't worry about our armies, like, let's get the goo monster. Who gives a shit if they explode? It's not gonna explode on me. Like, it's some fucking ugly shit. But like, for god beings, they're like, you never worry about the pawn. You kind of worry about the queen, and you definitely worry about the king. Like, that's all that fucking matters. And you're like,
I'll be interested to see how your modern day people compare, digest all this information. What they've
we've
done.
Also talked about that, and the answer is I can't imagine that it's going to go well. So if like
it's going to either inflate our egos or humble us. And
no, I'm going to be terrified.
Yeah,
both are bad.
I mean,
just the knowledge of what you did to Heartwind. What's that going to do to you?
Right.
Guys?
There's a huge fucking variance of experience between three vibrantly different characters. If I can say so myself.
So to give you some like insight into like things I had literally just started planning, because I was like, how would Mountain react to this? So during this session, I was like, honestly, one of my character paths, and I don't want to give away too much, would probably be find a mortal or something, have Deer make a device that's like, if you truly like find someone who truly cares about me, would not betray me, and if they absolutely believe that I need to die, then they can kill me just instantly. Like, there's just a device in me that only they can activate, but that way it's like, if I ever get too fucking crazy, you have to do this, because I've seen what I could be, and that is not acceptable.
We could do that.
And like, that's so my assumption, and I think me and Craig have talked about this like while playing DBD, I'm like, when we get back to Roxy and she's like, so do you feel more powerful? It's going to be so hard to lie and be like, yes, because otherwise it's like, you were monsters. And if you're anything like them, I cannot wait to eat your heart. Like, because that's basically going to be the feeling of, did you think this was okay?
Yeah. And I don't know if it would even be a point of lying anymore, right? Like the genuine shifted perspective is crazy, right? We stare at a mirror and we wake up after this experience. Like even Dirham, who's a guy who's like, every life matters, is going to be shook. Like, life does matter,
how
but also like God laws that are just like been negotiated, and this crazy powerful society. And like we are, I don't know, we're probably what at most like maybe 20% of the power of our first or like our remnant souls, like at most.
Not even.
Do you mean as our original characters?
Not
or the characters
20%.
Yeah, I mean like these characters. Like
you guys are originals.
I wouldn't even say 10%.
We're originals, right. But I mean like
Adramalik
like,
is probably not even 5% the strength.
Right, the pieces
Gold
we
Shadow.
could glean. Is what I mean. Like this is the only reflection we have of our previous existences, and we're like, I don't want to shit on ourselves. I would like to give us a decent number.
Oh, I'll shit on myself. Adramalik can't do shit.
Don't shit on yourself. You don't need to shit on yourself. You're valuable. But
thanks.
But it's
I can
right?
punch a hole and make a volcano. Like I'm almost that strong as this guy. Like I'm too strong. Like this is a crazy strong person. I'm not 20% as strong as this guy. If you took that would mean that if I took 5 mountains, so let's say Mountain could multiple man and be like boop 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 and make 5 mountains. Do I think they could beat up Contentious Sword? And the answer is no. No, I absolutely do not think that.
The growth is exponential once you reach a certain point.
Exactly.
But my point is, just seeing like the echo that we are to what
it's
we
incredible.
originally were. Like as a tabletop.
So awesome.
What a wild concept to have a reflection on what I've seen and emotionally how that may or may not do. Because I presume, correct me if I'm wrong, George, we're probably all in a trance, just like staring at our life and just fucking seeing it, whatever that is, however that is. And then
Roxy's older than even these people, which is also crazy to think about.
Probably
like, like 4,000 years old
as you guys.
No, she's probably
one of the primordials, wasn't she, or no?
No. She existed as a lunar in that.
Oh, I misunderstood. Sorry.
So she would be alive while we're alive now.
She may have
right, but she is alive.
Previously, like that's a scary concept. Is that she might have met these people?
I was worried she was my wife. I'm not gonna lie.
I mean,
oh no, it could happen.
Because in my thing, like, so the thing with the solars is if whatever your lunar is reincarnated as, or like you are each other's foil forever.
And I guess I know who Laura of Autumns is then, in theory.
Yeah, in theory, whoever
because
your partner is in this life, you got it.
Is who Laura of Autumn was. So I actually have insight.
Laura of Autumn is always a lunar.
Always a lunar.
No, but my
Bright Shattered Ice's husband or whoever.
But her unrequited love.
Different.
Maybe there's something else.
Different person. I think there are notes about that in your thing, isn't there?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's not Laura of Autumn, obviously, but like
she's not alive yet. Yeah.
But I have a love, and in theory, this is getting complicated.
I mean, I can tell you where yours is right
you
now
have have a partner.
I have a partner.
Lunar. So here's the thing: is you have your lunar partner who you are
and then,
probably societally obligated / expected to be with because they are your foil. And then I'm sure you can love whoever you want. It just doesn't matter because you have your part.
Oh shit! I should probably ask this question in.
I imagine it's probably like Dune with like, you have the person you love and then you have the person you're expected to be with.
Well, but that's
and you might love them.
Is Andamani a lunar?
No, Andamani is a solar.
Fuck.
We're all solars.
Can't have 2 sons, you idiot.
Bright Shattered Ice, Polly.
You're just there's just an expectation. And again, I'm sure there is love and stuff like that, and there's probably a drawing between the 2 souls with the lunar and solar. But just because there's a draw doesn't mean anything's going to come from that.
I mean, do you want me to tell you?
No.
Obviously,
obviously you can't. I
can.
No, you can, but you shouldn't.
I know where mine is.
That's juice for the podcast, my dude. We gotta discover this.
That's our question for next week.
Well, no. It's stuff that it's something that you would know.
You know.
Oh,
baby. Oh, it's sweet little bundle.